Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.
Hello and welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studios in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Joyce Onwosu. Our top stories. House of Representatives call for tax exemption for persons with disabilities. Senate refers Senator Natasha to disciplinary committee. House of Reps Committee justifies move for proposed Security Intelligence Trust Fund. Minister of Women Affairs partners with Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to provide housing for women. From the foreign scene, foreign investment in Australian real estate declines. We begin with the Senate. Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Disability Matters, Honorable Bashiru Dawudu, has called for tax exemption for persons with disabilities, insisting that such a class of Nigerians should not be allowed to pay tax. Honorable Dawudu said this at the signing of a memorandum of understanding by persons with disability in Abuja. He suggested that tax relief should be extended to companies who employ persons with disabilities and for manufacturers of equipment used by them, scholarships for teachers in special education departments, and setting up of the Disability Trust Fund.
We also observe that the commission that is saddled with doing this immense work of taking care of 35 million Nigerians received a very small budget of 2 billion. That says a lot. It is important to recognize that the way you allocate your resources to your budget shows how you want to treat your people. And societies are now going to be measured by how many rich people that you have, but how well you take care of your vulnerable ones. That is the way, and that is how you are going to be addressed.
In his presentation, the director of the PWD's Potential Unhinged project, Valentine Ugochukwu Zion, says the proposed MOU covers nationwide medical access support initiatives for persons with disabilities. He says it also covers talent discovery and development for PWDs within the creative sector, reality TV shows to showcase the potentials and resilience of persons with disabilities, and in the area of inclusive musical concerts.
A talent discovery and development project that will go from state to state in alphabetic order to discover people within these PWD communities that are very gifted in the area of the creative industries. So as a result of that, we came up with this project so that people can see the potentials in them, their gifts and the resilience in them, what they pass through on an everyday basis. So we begin to really create a larger stage for them to showcase what they have in terms of their potentials.
Nigeria currently has 35 million persons with disabilities amongst its population, but Honorable Dawudu has assured that the committee will ensure that the 2018 Disability Act, which has a 5-year moratorium, will be diligently implemented by the private sector and by MDAs as the Parliament continue to work on amending the law and impose more stringent penalties on offenders. The Nigerian Senate has commenced a probe of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's conduct during plenary last Thursday and referred the issue to its Committee on Ethics and Privileges and Committee on Code of Conduct and Public Petitions. The issue began when Senator Yemi Adaramodu, chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Publicity, raised a point of order. He expressed concern about misleading media reports regarding the events that unfolded in the Senate last week. He emphasized the need to protect the integrity and future of the Senate.
A section of the public, and I'm narrowing it to Mr. Senate President versus the senator, which is not so. Because our guiding rules, which is our testament and our catechism, our own Bible and our own Quran, which we all subscribe to religiously, embodies and epitomizes the whole Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Any action against it is an action against the Senate. It's not an action against the Senate President. Mr. President, sir, we were told when we were growing up as toddlers that where there is no law, there's no sin. But we have laws. Then it means that any contravention of that law is a sin. And where there is sin, there must be penalty.
The Senate leader, Bayemi Bamidele, Minority Leader Abba Moro, and Senator Jimo Ibrahim, among others, lamented over the conduct displayed by Akpoti Uduaghan on the fateful day and recommended that the matter be referred to its appropriate organ for further investigation.
I am at the back seat, but I can lend my voice. In fact, Mr. Senate President, the former Senate President, very distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawa, is at the very back seat after my own. Look at my own seat. Look at his own seat. And he's not complaining. He will raise up his hand with respect here, and will still go there to bow for his respect, because he's a man of integrity. So why can somebody say, can anybody be at the back seat more than him here? I am not against Natasha. I'm not for anybody. I'm just saying that the Senate is an institution, and that institution needs to have at its dashboard integrity as number one.
Simi Ulabalu about one of our colleagues, Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan, being asked to move to another seat. It's nothing that has to do with gender. It's nothing that has to do with hatred. It's nothing that has to do with any form of malice. For the record, let me say again, distinguished Senator Adamu Alero, who had been governor for 8 years, who had been honorable minister, and who is one of the most ranking senators in this Senate today, was asked to move his seat. And he didn't make any issue out of it. We had a reason to change the seat of His Excellency distinguished Senator Aminu Waziri Tambuwa. He didn't make any issue out of it. And the part of the reason that necessitated our recent decision to change seat was because at least 3 people, 3 distinguished colleagues, had moved from the minority aisle to the majority aisle.
We see you as first one among equals, but the presiding officer of the Senate, and therefore the father of the Senate. In spite of some provocations, in spite of some offenses, Mr. President, we ask you to tolerate some of our actions that are not in tandem with democratic and parliamentary practices. These things once in a while will occur, but please, we want to ask that while we are referring this matter to our relevant committee, let us ponder on the drama that unfolded on that day and see how we can mitigate against the possible consequences on the integrity and the image of this institution so that we can move forward in the interest of this country.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, reminded lawmakers of the importance of adhering to Senate rules, citing Order 62, Subsection 2 and Section 55 of Senate rules. He underscored that all senators must conduct themselves with decorum, including prohibitions on chewing gum, drinking water, or being disruptive during sittings.
The issue came up here. Our distinguished sister was not even speaking from her seat. And that was when we tried to call her to order. I think part of the problem is when people come from court declared senators, they miss the orientation. The management of the National Assembly is hereby ordered to organize periodic orientation, particularly for senators who are midstreamers, who came midstream and did not start when their colleagues started. Because I remember that this particular senator, on the day she was sworn in, raised her hand to speak. I was scared, but I had to recognize her because I was saying, you just gave her the rule book. Part of what we give to you when you are sworn in is a standing order of the Senate. So I said, has she even opened the rule book to know what she's going to say? But she made a contribution on that day. I think 2 days later, she brought a motion. There's nothing wrong in being vibrant, but there's a lot wrong when you don't know anything about the procedure. You can't be a Reverend Father and go and start the church service with communion. You must lay foundation.
Senators voted to approve that the issue be referred the Ethics Committee for investigation and to report back to the Senate in 2 weeks.
By consensus, the Senate leader has moved a motion and has been seconded. Those in support that the disorderly conduct of our colleague, distinguished Senator Natasha Odwagan, we referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges for necessary further action. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the matter is hereby referred to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges and Committee on Code of Conduct, Ethics and of course, and Public Petitions. Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions, headed by distinguished Senator Neida Imaspen, to look into it and advise the Senate, revert to us within 2 weeks.
Moving on to the Green Chamber, the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence has justified the move to establish a National Security and Intelligence Trust Fund as alternative funding source besides annual budgetary allocations to security agencies. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Ahmed Satomi, after a public hearing on a bill seeking establishment of the trust fund, told journalists that the envelope system of budgeting was restrictive for the nation's security agencies, therefore the need for alternative source of funding to augment their budgets. He explained that the major source as proposed in the proposed bill was a 1% statutory transfer from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, even as there have been suggestions by stakeholders to use unclaimed funds in money deposit banks spanning between 6 and 9 years, among others, to fund the trust fund. The proposed bill received full support from all the military and paramilitary agencies present at the public hearing, including the representative of the Speaker, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, who was represented by Honorable Victor Nwokolo from Delta State.
Funds will be deployed to the training and retraining of personnel of Nigerian security agencies. Provision of the state-of-the-art security and intelligence equipment and other necessary infrastructure-related facilities for the enhancement of the technical competency and operational readiness of our security personnel in all areas of their operation. Furthermore, the funds will ensure the upgrade and maintenance of the training institution to global standards, make resources available for research and development, including the utilization of outcome of such research to bring the intelligence agencies, the armed forces, and relevant paramilitary agencies at par with the world-best security agencies in this digital age. Over the years, Nigerian intelligence agencies have been grossly underfunded. Rather, more resources have been devoted to kinetic responses to our nation's security challenges. The truth, which is globally recognized, is that the kinetic operation cannot sustainably guarantee the provision of peace and security in any country. At best, the contribution of kinetic responses to sustainability of peace and security cannot exceed 30% at most. Therefore, it is time to lay more emphasis on intelligence gathering, intelligence sharing, and collaborative deployment and utilization of actionable intelligence.
Bill aims to boost the capacity of Nigerian security and intelligence architecture to effectively pursue the constitutional mandate of the security of lives and property, which is a primary responsibility of the government. As you are aware, the security of life and property is a very vital nation-building tool. It is most effective instrument in attracting investment and ensuring development of our country. Therefore, the importance of security cannot be overemphasized, especially in a country like ours, where all efforts are being made to attract investment and create opportunities for our teeming youth. I must admit that it has been a major challenge in our country. Therefore, we cannot gloss over the loss of human lives and resources arising from banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, oil and solid minerals theft, insurgencies, among others. These have had a combined effect of scaring investors and creating humanitarian challenges through displacement of families. They have also created issues such as food security arising from the devastation of farms as a result of kidnapping in our forests. It is therefore imperative that we use the instrumentality of the law to effectively address these challenges.
The issues of tax, just wanted to highlight, sir, because the language says that the fund shall be, as it were, exempt from all the provisions of tax laws. We just wanted to highlight that, might need to be moderated, because, for instance, the tax laws provide a number of obligations. It's not only to pay tax. The tax law provides obligation for entities to register for tax purposes, provides obligation for entities, whether they are private or government owned, to render the returns of the pay as you earn of their staff. The tax law also provides for that this fund, which is when established, shall be, sir, like any ministry, department or agency of government. And we have an obligation to withhold taxes from contracts that are awarded and to pay VAT, because the VAT Act as of today does not exempt it or any such bodies. So there will be such obligations, which is different from paying taxes on the inflow received by the fund. So we'll make those submissions, sir, in our,
In what it tagged a collateral consequence of the lockdown of the Onitsha Bridge Market, members of the House of Representatives Southeast Caucus have praised NAFDAC for its proactive move to rid the Onitsha Bridge Market of the nefarious activities of fake drug dealers in the market. The lawmakers also condemned the activities of the fake drug dealers, whom it's described as marchants of death, whose activities have caused the loss of lives and unsuspecting and innocent Nigerians. The House caucus made this comment at a press conference in Abuja on Tuesday to show support for the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administrative Control, NAFDAC, in clamping down on fake drug merchants at the Onitsha market. It called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of all the criminals and everyone involved in the illegal and dangerous trade to enable the market to reopen for genuine traders to continue to do their legitimate businesses.
As a caucus, we unequivocally condemn the nefarious activities of unscrupulous traders and so-called businessmen and women who peddle and engage in the business of production and distribution of fake, adulterated and unwholesome medications and drugs, which they pass on to the unsuspecting public. To say the very least, the activities not only imperil public health, but they have led directly or indirectly to loss of lives. To a lesser extent, these death merchants are also economic saboteurs, since their clandestine activities are not open to government scrutiny and taxation. Caucus hereby commends NAFDAC for their intervention in halting the unconscionable activities of these merchants of debt all over the country.
It will not be right to close down these shops because of wrongdoers. Let us be mindful that people survive on medication on a daily basis. What happens to those who are critically ill and are not able to access medicines and medications as prescribed rightly? Let's not punish the innocent by way of trying to get to the offenders. It's more like having artificial ripening agents in open market. I speak as a woman who goes to the market to procure food and fruits that you can no longer authenticate its worthiness for consumption. NAFDAC has not closed those markets.
For this very initiative to address and condemn and also appeal to NAFDAC to open up, to reopen the markets wherever that is closed. It affects basically all of us. If those channel of distribution is closed, it will affect the entire hospital in the whole country because there's a network. But we condemn, like our leader said, we condemn all those who are involved in these nefarious activities.
Recall that last week NAFDAC stormed and shut down the Onitsha Bridge market due to the nefarious activities of fake drug manufacturers to stem the dangerous practice. Senator representing Abia North, Orji Uzo Kalu, has asked Nigeria's former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida IBB to write a second edition of his autobiography, Journey in Service, and mention the names of those who stopped him from declaring Moshood Abiola winner of the June 12 presidential 1993 election. Speaking to journalists in Abuja on Tuesday, Kalu said IBB should name the accomplices to his second-in-command, late General Sani Abacha, and the chairman of National Election Commission, Humphrey Nwosu, so that Nigerians will know the roles they all played, so that it would not look like he lied. For the first time in 32 years, IBB admits in his autobiography, now highly debated book, that MKO Abiola, candidate of the Social Democratic Party SDP, won the annulled election. Kalu also asked President Bola Tinubu to swear MKO in posthumously and his picture allowed to hang in the Hall of Fame of former presidents of the country. The former governor of Abia State said he's glad that Babangida's book has finally cleared the misconception that the 1966 coup was an Igbo coup, but rather a Nigerian coup, coordinated and executed by the military, but erroneously blamed on Igbos in the country.
Babangida is my master, and everybody knows, and I'm going to visit him very soon. I'm going to discuss, but I'm waiting for second edition of that book, because the first edition did not bring out all the realities of what happened, especially when it concerned Professor Humphrey Nwosu and the INEC and why he was. Babangida should tell those, call by names, not only Abacha, call by names those who stopped him from declaring June 12. Because I was there, so I know what happened. You should call their names and write second edition, so Nigerians will know the rule. Because people are thinking maybe Babangida lied here and there, but I'm very grateful that the coup they call Igbo coup, Babangida have cleared. I don't need Babangida to tell me that that coup was not Igbo coup. That is why I'm in Nigeria, and that is why you see me behave the way I behave. So for me, that coup was a Nigerian coup collected by military, and the military executed the coup, and some people fell to do their job. That is what I saw. And Igbos are bearing the brunt, which is not fair on Igbos.
In the race for 2027, Kalu said his party LPC is not shopping for any other candidate apart from the sitting president Bola Tinubu, who he said he has no doubt will win a second term.
To go back to agriculture, so we can have the effect of the reform very fast. The effects of the reform are very fast coming, but we need to go massively dashing of money should stop. We should give the money to agriculture. We should give the money to things that makes meaning. But the good news is that we will win again in 2027. President Tinubu will return.
Thank you.
And you people will jubilate with us.
We'll take a break here. News stories from the built sector are up next. Stay with us.
Get credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join the African International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming and trending housing news. You can locate the AIHS venue via the app, network with AIHS seasoned speakers, and live chat with exhibitors. You can also order house or building materials at AIHS via this app. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from the App Store and Google Play Store. And don't forget to click on the notification button. Available for both iOS and Android users. Housing TV is also on Star Times, channel 149 decoder.
You're still watching Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Now to the build sector. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, has applauded the Centenary City PLC. The minister said that the city is a reliable way to boost Nigerian investment opportunities. Dangiwa made this known during an inspection tour of the Centenary City project in Abuja. He was accompanied by the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Shuaibu Belgore, and relevant directors of the ministry. Dangiwa also visited the Renewed Hope City site, Kasana, Kubwa, and the National Housing site in Gwagwalada, Abuja. The minister was glad to note that the concept of the Centenary City project aligned with the Renewed Hope City agenda, being an inclusive city with various living options and facilities such as sports, medical tourism, amongst others. The Centenary City Project PLC is a federal government legacy project to celebrate and mark Nigeria's centenary in 2014, a master plan development designed to create a smart city, attract global investment, and position Nigeria as a prime destination for business and development. The Minister of Women Affairs, Ajia Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim, has announced a partnership between the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to provide housing financing solutions for women. During a meeting with the bank's Managing Director, Shehu Usman Osidi, in Abuja, she emphasized that housing poverty remains a major challenge for women in Nigeria. She stated that the traditional notion that only women should provide shelter is outdated, adding that home ownership is key to women's financial independence. She also expressed concern over the living conditions of women in internally displaced persons camps and also vulnerable communities, stressing the need for structured housing solutions. The Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria praised the minister's efforts in championing policies that uplift women and highlighted the barriers they face in home ownership. He explained that through the National Housing Fund scheme, the bank offers low-interest mortgage loans tailored to women and other vulnerable groups. He also proposed a Women in Housing initiative where women professionals and artisans would be engaged in building housing estates, promoting financial inclusion. Officials of the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority have begun consultations with local government representatives on the upcoming Purple Line Rail project. Led by Technical Advisor Planning Osa Konyeha, the team met with key stakeholders, including the chairman of Orile Agege Local Council Development Area, Johnson Babatunde, chairman of Iba Local Council Development, Yisa Jibril, and secretary to Alimosho Local Government Area, Dario Ogunkoya. The discussions focused on sensitizing local authorities ahead of the project's implementation. According to the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, the Purple Line will cover 57 kilometers, connecting Redemption Camp to Volkswagen and featuring 17 stations integrated into Lagos's existing rail network. The engagement team, including lead consultant Dr. Babatunde Osho and head of corporate communication Kolawole Ojelabi, explained that this consultation is a crucial step before the environmental and social impact assessment scoping exercise. Crossing over to the foreign scene, foreign investment in Australian real estate has dropped significantly, with Chinese investors pulling back in large numbers. In late 2023, Chinese buyers spent about $700 million on Australian residential property, a sharp decline from $1.1 billion just 3 months earlier. The latest report from the Foreign Investment Review Board now shows an even steeper fall, with only $400 million invested. Despite this, China remains the largest foreign investor in Australian real estate, followed by Taiwan, Hong Kong, Vietnam, and Indonesia. The commercial property sector, which typically attracts more foreign investors, has also taken a hit. In the last 12 months, total foreign investment in Australian commercial real estate dropped from $44 billion $200 million to an estimated $36 billion. The United States recorded the biggest fall, cutting its investments from $31 billion $300 million to just $22 billion $900 million. Meanwhile, Singapore increased its investment nearly fourfold, making it the second largest foreign investor in Australian commercial property. That's the much we can take on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. House of Representatives call for tax exemption for persons with disabilities. Senate refers Senator Natasha to disciplinary committee. House of Reps committee justifies move to propose Security Intelligence Trust Fund. Minister of Women Affairs partners with Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to provide housing for women. From the foreign scene, foreign investment in Australian real estate declines. For more news in the housing sector, subscribe to Housing TV Africa on YouTube and follow Housing TV on all social media platforms. Download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play Store and Apple Store. I am Joyce Onso. Bye for now.